On teachers, parents, and the educational foundation. Many of my friends are teachers, and they often lament that they've never seen the teaching profession so difficult. I've heard stories that haunt me, like parents coming to school and forcing a teacher to kneel and apologize to a student for daring to discipline their child. This makes me wonder, if the foundation of education is built on teachers kneeling, hasn't the moral foundation already crumbled? This is especially troubling when there are so many other ways to solve problems. In reality, many teachers have chosen to compromise with parents and students. Perhaps they shrug it off, thinking that whether a child learns or becomes a good person is up to them. Sadly, the more lenient they are, the better their evaluations are from parents in surveys. It sounds like a win-win situation, but it's one with many underlying issues. A few of my friends have suffered greatly. Some have even had to seek therapy to continue their careers. They face the disrespect of students and the pressure of cameras that can record their every action and word, which are then posted on social media for everyone to judge. This makes me think, is it entirely the children's fault? Sometimes when we get together, we tell stories from the past. Back then, it was completely normal for a teacher to hit or scold a student. I still remember once in middle school, my teacher used a ruler to tap my hand because I was being disrespectful. When I got home, I didn't dare tell my mom because I knew she would punish me even more for my insolence towards my teacher. But now, forget about physical discipline. Even a few words of scolding can infuriate parents. I believe the problem isn't entirely with the children, but with the behavior of adults. Children are a reflection of their parents. Of course, there are some teachers who lack self-control, but I believe they are a minority. It's unfair to judge every action taken to guide a student as having a bad motive. Every parent has only one or two children and occasionally punishes them for misbehaving. Yet when teachers do the same, even for the child's own good, parents become overly protective. Each teacher has dozens of students, each with a different personality and level of mischief. If there isn't some form of discipline within acceptable limits, how can you teach them to become good people? A few minor punishments won't necessarily traumatize a child, but if a parent defends their child and attacks a teacher even once, a bad habit will be formed. I've heard some people argue that teaching is a service, parents are the customers, and students are the gods who have paid. I believe those who think this way will raise their children in the same manner. Personally, I have never seen a parent who disrespects teachers end up with a well-behaved and successful child. In my opinion, that's karma. There are two professions that have been traditionally respected, teaching and medicine. One gives knowledge and moral guidance, and the other saves lives. They cannot be equated with a normal business transaction. I don't think the market economy has corrupted the teacher-student relationship, but rather it's the parents' distorted thinking that has been instilled in their children, causing them to act disrespectfully. The majority of genuine teachers and knowledgeable parents have the most harmonious way of interacting. They won't post on social media to expose and intimidate a teacher just because they dared to discipline their child, allowing society to dissect the situation from a biased perspective. Know your enemy, know yourself, and perseverance. I often hear the saying, know your enemy, know yourself, and you can win 100 battles. But it seems many people misunderstand or intentionally misinterpret it. According to Sun Tzu's The Art of War, the original quote is, "If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles." When you have a clear understanding of yourself and your opponent's capabilities and nature, you are safer and can avoid unnecessary losses, but it doesn't guarantee victory. Someone who truly wins 100 battles would never say that. They understand that victory also depends on the opponent's carelessness or a weakening of their supplies and weapons, factors that are beyond their control. Look at my country's history. During the resistance against the Yuan Mongol invasion, if the Tran dynasty had fought the Yuan army on equal footing, we would have lost. The stature and physique of the Vietnamese were no match for the nomadic warriors from the north. Our ancestors used the strategy of retreating to preserve their forces, waiting for the enemy to run out of supplies and for diseases to spread before launching a counterattack. This was also successfully applied during the war against the Americans. We had to fight a guerrilla war, preserve our troops, win the support of the people, and wait for the right moment. A 25-year-long war is acceptable as long as you don't lose, because it's very difficult to recover from a defeat. This is also Warren Buffett's #1 rule in investing. Never lose money. First and foremost, you have to survive before you can think about winning. On the battlefield or in business, this mindset will make you calculate with the utmost caution. Only those who are ignorant, delusional, or intentionally herding sheep will say they're guaranteed to win or will win 100 battles. Even someone like Mr. Vuong wouldn't dare say that. On the battlefield, a great general isn't necessarily one who wins every battle, but one who knows how to not sacrifice troops and avoid unnecessary losses. To achieve a decisive victory, we must be persistent, patient, carefully observe both ourselves and our opponent, and wait for the right time, place, and people, instead of being overly confident and ending up with a devastating loss. Depression and herd mentality. Nowadays, I feel like every square meter there are 10 people complaining about depression. I'm talking about those who are not clinically depressed, but rather those who are ignorant and like to blame their circumstances. In my opinion, depression is a state where you feel melancholy, dejected, and lack energy. You might think you're unlucky, but the cause may lie somewhere within your own mindset. I've noticed that most people who claim to be depressed, especially young people, often have the following characteristics: abuse of addictive substances, from alcohol to stronger things, addiction to bad dopamine, such as trashy games, social media, especially TikTok, or unhealthy movies, lack of physical activity. Being sedentary makes the body sluggish and the mind struggles to develop. Lack of gratitude. They only know how to complain about life. How can you be positive if you're not grateful? If you have these habits and blame your suffering, I don't agree. Many people have it worse than us. Are they starving? Do they have a physical disability? Are they living in a war-torn country? If not, then complaining about depression is something I find very hard to accept. Ignorance-induced depression is a result of long-term accumulation. The cure also takes a long time. It's actually not as difficult as you think. You just need to abandon bad habits and create good ones. One of the habits you should drop immediately is staying up late, and a habit you need to have is getting quality sleep. Remember to exercise every day, like jogging, because it's simple and effective. You might say, I'm too busy, I work hard all day, can't I just relax a bit? Of course, no one is stopping you. But if you end up depressed, don't blame anyone else. Blame yourself first. Try to eat a balanced diet, drink enough water, play sports, and consume clean knowledge. If you can, maintain a habit of gratitude by writing down the good things every day. Just do it, and after 6 months, you'll see how much you've changed. Herd mentality is what leads us down a dead end without us even realizing it. I want to tell you a story. At a temple on a mountaintop, a tragic accident occurred. Over 30 people died when a wooden bridge collapsed. Only one person survived. The cause wasn't the weather or the bridge's quality, but the chaotic crowd. After the investigation, they discovered that someone had run down yelling, "The Buddha has appeared at the temple. It's a once-in-a-thousand-years opportunity." The crowd then stampeded and pushed each other on the small bridge. It turned out that the Buddha's appearance was just a monk's golden robe being blown by the wind, which looked like a person performing a flying stunt from a distance. This story shows fanaticism, a lack of critical thinking, and a herd mentality. People see others rushing forward and they follow without analyzing or questioning. This mentality becomes even stronger when it's based on greed. Fearing they'll lose out, people push and shove each other without considering the consequences. So when you find yourself thinking or acting like the crowd, maybe that's the time to step back and reconsider. It can be uncomfortable to stand on the sidelines of society, but it's an opportunity for you to reflect on whether you should follow the crowd. The story of the robe is everywhere in life. Be clear-headed and maintain your own judgment.